We're talking with Tom Neth of Little Green Bean. Look at that grin. Hi, Tom. And it's so wonderful to see you at your new store in Point Arena.
Thank you.
It's more than a store, though. It's a coffee shop now, isn't it?
Yeah, we are kind of expanding more into retail now.
And it smells so good. How do you live with that smell all day long?
I don't notice it as much when I've been in here for a while, but it does smell great every time I walk in.
So let's talk about, you have many different kinds of coffee beans here.
Yeah.
We have from the decaf, skateboard, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Papua New Guinea, Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, Zambia, and Ethiopia.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Do these go from like light to dark, or they're just...
They're all from different regions, and each region has its own unique characteristics of the beans. So, generally speaking, like the Central Americans will all have a similar style, but because they use different varieties a lot of times at the different farms, that you can get from one farm, you can get a coffee from one farm that has completely different taste characteristics. So it always depends on a lot of factors, and then and as far as where I roast them too, it makes a difference too. The different taste that I bring out of the beans.
Where is your roaster?
It's way in the back now. Where over there was it in the front and center?
Yeah, it's way in the back.
But now it's way in the back, which is good because then I can concentrate on roasting when I'm back there.
Why don't you show us your roaster? Because it's a hunting, so wow, this is beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Diedrich roaster. And so, how many pounds do you roast at once?
I can do 10 pounds at a
10
time.
pounds.
Well, it goes in 10 pounds. I lose a little bit with water weight when in the roasting process, so it comes out more like 8.5 pounds probably.
Well, explain that a little bit. The roasting.
The roasting process. Yeah. So I drop these. This is where the beans go in up here, and this opens up the chute into the drum, and this rotates. And there's two heating elements that spread out the heat so that it's a nice even cooking surface, so the beans don't get burnt on one end. So they roast evenly, and they'll be in the roaster for approximately 16 minutes. The lighter roasts are a little shorter. The darker roasts are a little longer, probably. But throughout that process, I'm adjusting the heat that's being applied, adjusting the airflow that's going through. It all kind of affects the different portions of the roast where you want to. It's kind of that's the craft part, is trying to create a profile, they call it. And then at the end, you open this up, and there goes a bean. There was a bean left over, and it dumps into the cooling bin. And the cooling bin will it sucks air down through the bin and out, but it basically air cooled, and it'll cool off in 3 minutes.
I walked into the older store, the other store once, and this was on, and it was just amazing to have that scent of the beans. Did you go to school to learn this, or?
It was a hobby. Did home roasting, but I did go up to the Diedrich manufacturing plant. Puts on a roasting seminar, weekend long, 3-day seminar, and I went up to that, and through that I met some other people that were starting their own businesses, and they were learning how to roast as well. And we stayed in contact, created a Facebook group, and kind of shared our knowledge together and learned together, basically.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, I see the pride on your face. Let's take a quick. You can go that way, and I'm going to go around the corner over here and be like a customer. And Tom now in his store is in the beautiful new store. Is this a court floor?
It is.
Nice. You have now these new pour overs.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called, pour overs or something.
Yeah.
That is so cool. So you can help 3 people at once.
Mm-hmm. Actually, you do 5 people. Have another one too. This is what I started with. This is all I had, was just these 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I just bought that one too, to add. And right now I do tea with these two, roots tea. But I do have I can do coffee as well through this. So.
Maybe you're also doing cold brew. What's the story on cold brew?
So cold brew is another brewing method where you soak the grounds in cold water overnight. And that it's a slower extraction, but it creates kind of a very smooth cup of coffee. You can add hot water to it to make it hot, but I can never get it hot enough to my liking, so I usually put it on ice is my suggested way of drinking it. But it does make a nice smooth cup of coffee, and it's supposed to have a third of the acidity of a regular cup of coffee, so people with stomach problems, it's better for them.
Well, I know you stay there. I'm just going to move over here.
Okay.
And the certain types of coffee do seem to have, I think the Arabica beans, Arabica beans seem to have a lot more acid in them. To me they do.
Okay.
You know, that's.
There's two varieties. The main varieties, the Robusta and the Arabica. All specialty coffee is pretty much all Arabica for the most part.
What's the most popular coffees that people buy here?
My best seller is my skate park blend.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
And tell me why.
It's my darkest roast. I think that people like the darker roasts for the most part, seem to be a favorite among a lot of people. My skate park blend it's a lighter French roast. I try to make sure that it doesn't have any burnt taste to it at all. So it's nice and smooth, and but you still get that smoky French roast flavor.
I love French roast. Love French roast. I was addicted to it for years, and I backed off, and I'm back at it. I think I love it. Well, we only have a little bit of time left, but what else would you like to tell us about your store or your business?
What else about my business? I am trying to do more chocolate now as well.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, that's kind of a new thing that since you interviewed me back at the studio a few years back.
While. Yeah.
I started when I was up at my roasting seminar. There was a couple up there that's learning how to roast cacao. And they were starting their own chocolate business, but it planted a seed in my brain saying I could roast cacao in my machine. So it's something that has kind of evolved over the last couple of years. And it's one of the reasons why moving over here, we kind of made it a very commercial vinyl flooring so that we could do more chocolate processing in the shop.
Nice.
And so that's something we're looking into expanding.
Well, I'm going to have to walk out of here with one of your special milk chocolates. Look at this, Tom's milk chocolate. Very cool.
And my mom helps out too. My mom is my one helper in here, and she really enjoys doing the chocolates, and so she'll do the tempering process. I just did a batch of chocolate actually. That's what these sheeps are. They're getting washed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I see that because some of these are little frogs.
Yeah.
They're kind of ocean or coastal themes here.
It's pretty much all coastal.
Yeah, we have a seagull. We have sea stars, some kind of fish.
Surfboards.
Surfboards, of course. Of course. These are very, very cool.
So I roast the cacao. Then I have to, I am not set up yet outside to do the cracking and winnowing, so I take it home. I have a shed where I can do I run it through like a champion juicer without the screen, which just cracks up the beans into a bunch of pieces. You end up with a bunch of nibs like this after the cracking and winnowing process. And then I'll put these nibs combine them with sugar and a little cocoa butter and put them in a stone wheel grinder. And it'll grind for 20 hours or so, usually. You can grind it for up to 96 hours. The longer you grind it, the smoother the chocolate gets, but the more you grind out the strong flavors of the cacao, you kind of mellow out those flavors. So there's a give and take there. But then at that point, then I'll temper it and pour it into shapes.
What's a cacao bean look like?
It looks a little bit bigger, almost like the size of, I mean, it's bigger than an almond even. It's pretty good size.
Is it okay? Well, you'd let me.
Yeah. Okay.
I had no idea that's what cacao looks like.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's, they usually ferment it. This is why I'm wearing my shirt from a chocolate farm in Hawaii, so I went and visited and did a tour of, and they showed us how they do the whole chocolate processing to get to this point where they have to they use banana leaves a lot of times to ferment the chocolate, the cacao, and that's what.
So then after this, you grind it into these nibs.
Yeah, after roast it. This is unroasted, but then you roast it and then crack and winnow. The outer shell is kind of light, and I have a little process to winnow it, where it's this machine that you stick the beans in one side with the vacuum cleaner on the other. It kind of works, but it does the job.
It's all a learning curve, isn't it?
It is. And the whole process of learning it has been, well, maybe I can do it without having to buy this expensive machine. And it's like, nope, you have to buy the expensive machine because nothing works otherwise.
I may have told you this before, but decades ago, Cost Plus used to sell green beans, and they gave you this little flat aluminum pan that had holes in it, and you're supposed to roast it in your oven. Yeah. And it was almost impossible not to burn it, or it just turned to dust, dry dust, and it smelled good before you burned it. But yeah, all of that. So now people can come to the store, and they can also get espressos and.
Not espressos yet. That's something we're looking into doing in the future. We're still doing pour overs and. I'm doing drip coffee in the mornings, but mostly just pour overs, tea, and cold brew.
And if we're not here in Point Arena, where can we get your products?
You can get my products, all my coffees in most of the stores locally. In Gualala, it's only Surf Market, but then at Anchor Bay, here in Point Arena General Store, and at the Co-op Arena Market, and then up at S&B Market.
That's great.
And Lisa's Luscious has my coffee as well.
That's wonderful.
And then Whitecap is serving my coffee. Cove Coffee serves my coffee. Bird Cafe serves my coffee. And Franny's next door serves my coffee.
How does that make you feel?
Oh, it's wonderful to be, I enjoy my business, and I'm glad that other people enjoy what I'm producing, so what I'm making.
Was that your dream when you started, that it would be like this with everybody serving your coffee?
I kind of have been. I didn't have a big idea of what was going to become. I just kind of was doing what I enjoyed and kind of going with the flow in a way.
How did you come up with the logo?
The little green bean?
Yeah.
When I started my business, I was thinking of a logo. The shape itself was kind of designed roughly around an old Rip Curl surf ad from the 70s that I remember in surf magazines from when I was a kid. And my brother had a friend that does logos, and so he's a surfer, and I surf with him, and I told him this is what I want, and that was the first thing he came up with. I said, perfect, that's exactly what I was thinking.
A Rip Curl little green bean.
Yeah.
Nice.
It stands out well. Yeah.
When I met you, you were pouring at the Pancake. Which I think you and
the
your
farmers
mom.
Market.
You're at the farmers market. You still do that now. I understand. We can get your coffee in many places. So if I'm in downtown Gualala, where can I get it?
You can get it at Surf Market. It's also served at the Gualala Hotel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Gualala Hotel. And up here in Point Arena?
In Point Arena at the general store, at the Co-op. They sell the bags of coffee. They also serve my coffee at the cafe in the Co-op. And then at Cove Coffee has my skate park French roast, and Bird serves my coffee as well, and my chocolate.
Great. And Anchor Bay.
Anchor Bay store has my coffee as well, and Whitecap serves my coffee.
The White Cat makes a great latte with your coffee.
Awesome.
I love that. And Manchester.
Manchester at S&B Market.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you very much.